Conrad, I was going to ask you something just because I thought about this when I was doing my cardio. I got a comment. Some guys that went to the independent show on Saturday night were in the gym, and they came up and look. They went to SummerSlam. They went to AEW last year. They drive to events. I mean, just they're big wrestling fans, and will make a weekend out of it and get hotel rooms and the conventions. Of course, they were at StarCast. They did the entire deal, and one of the guys did Atlanta, SmackDown, did SummerSlam on Saturday, Ric Flair last match on Sunday. Really into it, but they came Saturday night and they made the comment that their kids driving home in the car said, "Hey, Dad, I had a better time tonight than I had at blah, 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 blah," because they've been to a couple of events. So I say, you know, the art form or the form of entertainment, whatever you want to call professional wrestling, I want to hear your thoughts on this because, yes, it's an up close and personal experience, but you just think about the money that the dad spent driving to Atlanta or SummerSlam, and then the amount of money he spent on Saturday night. Is there any other form of entertainment? And I know minor league baseball kind of pops in my brain, but it's just not, I don't think it's apples to apples. We're both fans of this. What makes wrestling like that? Just because of the up close. I mean, we were in a high school gym or a middle school gym, and that little boy had the time of his life.
It's a real life comic book. So it's sort of over the top cartoonish violence. You know, MMA has sort of ruined the illusion for a lot of us. Now we know that jiu-jitsu is, but I mean, nobody's really doing a bunch of jiu-jitsu moves at a high level that's getting big pops from the crowd. So just ground fighting as opposed to the over the top comic book style action that we grew up on. So this was the real life version of that, wink, wink. But at the same time, I also think it's because those characters stay those characters forever. Meaning you could still go see Jeff Jarrett. Maybe you grew up on Jeff Jarrett. Well, Jeff Jarrett's wrestling this Wednesday or Friday for sure. So go see that. But if you grew up on Joe Montana, we can't really go see that. Like the traditional sports world, you have a shelf life that is much different. And I think that's when it becomes more about the team and the brand and the logos and all that and the organization. But wrestling is one of those where you can still cheer for these individual superheroes, and it's not about what's best for the team. And because of that, we sort of have that emotional connection with the individuals. I think there's a much bigger emotional connection that someone has if they grew up on Superman or Hulk Hogan than, say, the emotional connection they had to the Bills or the Cowboys, unless maybe that was their dad's team or that was their grandfather's team. But that emotion, I think, is what makes wrestling different from most everything else.
Yeah, because there's so many different ways to slice that. But I want to hear your thought on that. But what a great business we're in. I mean, you just think about me and you. My world is, generally speaking, other than dogging Chris Park and making nonsense out of his stuff, we're telling nostalgic stories. And I get it, pulling the curtain back and the story behind the story and all that. But what a great business we're in, Connie.